Oh, look at that. You've just caught me writing in my reading journal. How naturally we seem to open up today's live stream. Actually, I am squeezed into a little corner of my big childhood bedroom so that I could get some natural light, so that I could have a place to stream, because once again, I am traveling. So, hello, everybody. How are you? My name is Margaret Pennard. I'm a historical fiction writer and eclectic reader, and it is every other Wednesday, so I'm here to do a Wednesday wrap up. And I have a triple redundancy system, I suppose. Do I? I write down my reads in the planner. I collect my reads digitally in Storygraph. And there was another way that I was just talking about my reviews. But anyway, at least it's double redundant. So I've got 4 reads and a bonus read along to discuss with you today. So it won't be too long of a live stream. I've got a question of the day for any popping in. Have you read any favorites for the Irish or Celtophile readathons? Because the books that I'm reviewing today are mainly nonfiction, and they're for research or the readathons going on this month. So you'll see some definite biblioserendipity, if I can steal the word that Brian and I invented together. But yeah, let me know that as we're talking. And yeah, we've got 4. I've got 1 audiobook. I've got wait, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I have 3 physical books, but one of them I've already passed on. So it's in Portland awaiting its execution date, I suppose. So I don't have that one to share you. I will share you that one like the audiobook on Storygraph on the screen. Ooh, Catpaw says, got the notification on time today. Good morning, Catpaw. And Jim says, hey, y'all, nice to see you. Okay, so we'll go with the digital ones first. So I've got this one that I've already passed on. Pop it up to the screen. I did share why I picked this one up, and I've already forgotten what the impetus was. It was something, oh, I know. It was the really gorgeous book about the Kamigawa food detectives, which is a cozy translated Japanese novel about people looking for memories through food and people who help them find those memories and sort of process them. And it talked so beautifully about Japanese cuisine that I got into a flurry of cookbook activity. So not only for cooking for myself, but also this saucy number, Food Artisans of Japan, Recipes and Stories by Nancy Singleton Hachisu. And this is way out of my normal. This is not interwoven with biblioserendipity. This is just an ooh and ah and just look at the pretty things kind of book. It was, I don't know, maybe a quarter to a third recipes that were very complicated. I'm not going to make any of them. I took maybe 3 pictures of those pages, and the remaining 2/3 to 3/4 was explaining about different artisans. So people who had specialized in something and learned all there was about the traditional way to produce that thing, whether it was sesame oil or sake or, a certain type of vegetable or a certain type of meal. And like, I just loved hearing about those things because they're inspirational, that someone would dive down so deep to get so good to make sure that these foods and foodways were preserved for people in the next generation. That's very inspiring. So I really liked that part. And then I skipped around the recipes towards the end because I was like, I'm never going to make any of these things. They're way too specialized. I don't have any of these ingredients here. So So that was a nice sort of in the evening, a few pages at a time, absorbing people's dedication to their craft and carrying on with that. So this is the outlier. But then we can move on to the audiobook, which is the last one that I finished, the most recent. This is Sirens by Amelia Hart. And I think Jim has read Wayward. I still haven't read it. I think Amelia Hart is an Australian author, and she's got a very distinctive, sort of weird in her writing, which I really liked. And I think Wayward is the same tone. So what I will say about this, the Sirens, is that there's a bit of supernatural and there's a bit of folklore and myth and legend. And I liked how they were woven in to the dual timelines. So I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil the experience, because I really liked how it unveiled itself, let's say. And yeah, so what I can say is that the dual timeline is presenting sisters in the present day who are not very close, but we're in the point of view of one of them at the beginning. And she's going through a really rough time because she's having her world turned upside down. She's in college. She wants to be a journalist. She's got this condition where she's like allergic to water and her skin reacts to it. So she's sort of a, outsider, pariah, doesn't fit in with other people, and has had, to deal with a lot of things based on that in Australia. And her sister is an artist and she's much older and she's sort of like moved out early, but like they're kind of a push-pull relationship. And then the other timeline is in the ocean. It actually starts in Ireland, but it's these set of sisters who are on a convict ship in 1801, and they're being shipped to Australia for defending themselves. And we get to hear a little bit about their story before, but mostly what they're experiencing with this convict ship full of women on the ocean and how their life is. And yeah, really interesting. So, I love the historical point and how that's like talking about injustices. It actually talks about the 1798 failed rebellion. It's part of the origin story of the sisters, which I loved. They're twins, and one of them is blind. So they have a very close relationship. And they also have the skin condition that they're allergic to water in that way. That's very painful and it burns their skin and stuff. So yeah, we see how these storylines sort of crash into each other, and you can tell from the title, the Sirens, that we're going to bring in a little bit of like the folklore. There's a little bit of Gaelic, it's Irish in here. There's just a lot of stuff that was like Margaret book, like waving green flags. I did get a little, I will say, a little frustrated with some of the not time jumps, but just time frames. There's so many different events being talked about that there's more like 5 timelines, because sometimes we're being asked to like go back in the past of these characters. And so it gets a little confusing at times, but I mean, you can sort it out. But the suspense is predicated on a twist, and like I saw the twist coming like 5 miles away. So I was like, when are they going to say it? When are they going to say it? When are they going to find out? So that created a little bit more drama for me, but also like the bad kind of tension. But it was very enjoyable. I listened to the audiobook. And we love Libro.fm for audiobooks here, independent audiobook retailer. And the narrator, Barry Kreinick, did both a passable Australian rendition and a very good Irish rendition. And the Irish Gaelic actually came through too. And she sings. So I thought she did a great job with this, with a very multitudinous list of tasks to accomplish. So she's going on my, very accomplished narrator list, Barry Kreinick. But yeah, Amelia Hart. Jim has clarified Wayward was his favorite book of last year. Yes. Okay. So I knew it was up there. I forgot that it was your favorite. And according to my favorites question for Irish readathon or Celtophile readathon, Catpaw says, not sure if it qualifies, but I love A Place Called Here by Cecilia Ahern, who is an Irish author. Not for everyone, but I love it, both the story and how it is written. You didn't read that this month, though, right? You've talked to me about Cecilia Ahern before, and she's on my wish list, but I'm betting this is a book that you've read long ago. Catpaw also says the Sirens is on her TBR. Okay. Wayward has 3 timelines. Oh, okay. 1619, World War II, and contemporary. So she obviously just likes to play with multiple threads. Interesting. I am doing that in my drafting now. Oh, I forgot to do the author update. I was going to do that before. I'll do that in the middle. I'll address this timeline thing when I do that. Okay, holding on to that thought. Catpaw says, is Wayward the name of the book or the author? Wayward is the name of the book by Amelia Hart, her first book, and Sirens is her second book. Not this month. It's an all-time favorite. Nice. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so that's the Sirens. I mean, solid 4-star, really good. And yeah, I need to get a copy of Wayward. I've hesitated on the edge of buying it several times new. But we'll see. We'll see when it comes into my hands again. I almost did the same thing with At Night All Blood is Black, because I found it in like a little surf shop vintage place that was really cute here in San Luis. And I'm getting a Wi-Fi distress signal. I hope I'm still coming through okay. And then it was new, and I was like, it's $25 for a book. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. So that is book number 2. I'll pause this and do the author update. So the timelines. So if you didn't know, March is my self-nominated Nano, my drafting month for this year. I am going through the first draft of book 2 in The Widening Gyre. So I am taking Orla's cousin, who we met in Orla Rafferty Seeks Her Fortune, and giving her story. And I've got 2 timelines so far. So I am using this obviously as a first draft to try to figure out what happened before. So what's driving her now? I don't know if I'll keep it that way. I mean, it seems to be working pretty well, but like now I'm in the final third because we're in the last week of March. It's probably going to take me a few days into April to finish the story. Yeah, I have a good idea. The idea is finally formed for the final third, but not the actual last thing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have been writing every day this month. So we are on day 26. I've had 2 days under my word count, which is 1666. Basically, for Nano, you're encouraged to write 1667 words a day so that you can get to 50,000, which is what they say is a minimum for a novel. And I have had 2 days under that count, 22 over, so mostly over, giving myself a little buffer, and one that landed exactly on 1666, which I just thought was funny, so I'd note it. Yeah, so going pretty well, lots of stuff going on, working around all of it, trying to keep up, and that's the author update. The timelines. Yeah, I'm in the I won't say anymore. I'll just, who knows what it'll evolve or morph into by the time it gets out in the public. So I will just leave it at that. It's going. It's going. Ça va bien. This is anyone from Louisiana might say. Where was I in the chat? Cool. Jem says, I've read 2 books by Cecilia Ahern. Oh, The Marble Collector and Thanks for the Memories, both of which I enjoyed. Nice. Catpaw says, I got those two on my tablet to read. Nicely done. That's cool. Irish writers unite us all, right? There we go. Okay. Last two books and then the bonus read along. We have a reread. So I read this. Okay, on Storygraph, you might notice if you look up this current read that I have, A Book of Migrations by Rebecca Solnit, some passages in Ireland. This is the cover I have. I like it. It's very blurry in the image on Storygraph because like no one has this copy. So I feel pretty cool still having this copy from 1998, 1997, 97. I got this like in 98, like a long time ago from Powell's. Maybe I got it a few years later. But I liked Rebecca Solnit ever since her Wanderlust book about meditations on walking, which I found to be fabulous and so dense and like a rich vein to mine, let's say. And this is no different. She is an activist. She's written lots and lots of books by now since this one. She's written memoirs, and she comes from the Bay Area, but she's got a Jewish side of the family and an Irish side of the family. And the Irish side actually is not far distant. It was a grandparent. And so by the rules in the mid 90s, she was able to access an Irish passport. And so now she's an Irish citizen. And she said that at the beginning of the book. And I was like, I don't remember this when I read it before, but I bet she's thanking her lucky stars now. So yeah. So in this book, which is a rereading, she's talking about going to Ireland and having a weird sort of feeling about being there because she's part Irish, but no one there like reads her as Irish. And when she says she is, they don't really understand what she means, like the Americanness of it all. And she's looking into several spots where history happened, like social history, the kind that I like to research as well, and the rebellions and the clearances and all these types of things, but also random figures in history that I didn't know. And there's a lot of interesting points and like research places I'm going to go back to. So I just love the way I would use the word peregrinations because it's like this spiraling wandering, but every chapter she always sort of like winds it up so you feel like you've got a complete package or a message or something. And I really appreciate her style of writing. And I might have tried imprinting. I might have imprinted it, and like my style tries to sort of aim at what she's doing when I write some types of writing. So really recommend Rebecca Solnit. And if you are looking for an Ireland book, the new cover is color instead of like a green gray wash, but a similar picture. So if you're interested, highly recommend. And so she's an Irish citizen. So does it count for Irish readathon? I think so. And Celtophile readathon? Yeah, memoir. So my final book is this big daddy here. Can anyone guess? I might have mentioned it before in a stream, but there's the back cover. Isn't that pretty? It's got some textiles going on. It's about my man William Morris. Decor and design written by Elizabeth Wilhide. So I have links to all these books because I thought they were all good and they're in the description below. But for Rebecca Solnit, that book, that edition, and this one. Excuse me. There is no edition available where I looked on Bookshop or Blackwell's, and so I gave you a half-price book link because that's a used version. Oh, hold on one second. Oh, where's my handkerchief? Okay. I found this book at a half-price books, and so that's why I looked to them. It's a picture book, so like lots of inspiration. At the back, the appendices show all the patterns designed by William Morris. He was the founder of the arts and crafts movement in the 1860s, 1870s, and beyond. He designed furniture with a few of his friends and really seemed to just have a voracious mind for processes. So when I was talking about Japanese food artisans, I feel like they have kindred spirits, because William Morris was someone who was appalled by the state of shoddy copies of mass-produced items that was starting to happen in the 1850s and 60s, and was like, no, there's good craftsmen out there. Why aren't we paying them for their fairly for their work, I suppose? And he wanted to make sure that like that was still valued. So he sort of went against the trend and started making things, and then people started realizing how beautiful they were. First, it was like the small Bloomsbury set, and then it was people who were ordering from London, and then it sort of spread across the continent, across England, and had a vast effect on the whole world. Craftsman, if you've heard of that, is something that is it's an architectural style in America, and I would say it's a simplified version of arts and crafts, because arts and crafts is textiles, like curtains, like rugs, like how the wall is like has rails and has cornices, or lots of architectural terms I don't know. How the furniture is, how like the fireplace mantle is decorated, whether you have wallpaper, whether you paint, whether it's whitewashed, whether it's 16 different patterns in a room, or like a very quiet. There's lots of cool things that he talks about in terms of philosophy of design in here, but there's also all these beautiful patterns. So William Morris is perhaps famous for saying, have nothing in your house that you do not consider beautiful or find useful. And so it's one of these like tenets of design, and I really like that. And I just came across an echo of that very quote in the James Hunter book about John Murdoch that I'm reading, who was a land reform activist in Scotland and Ireland. And I was like, what? He just said beautiful and useful. So that was another moment of this read and my current read, like fizzing together in a nice way. But yeah, and this is if you heard me talk about the wallpaper designer that I found in Portland, you'll probably recognize the same little fizz of excitement, because she was a tattoo shop owner. She designed tattoos, like that was her art. And then she moved to the wallpaper design, but sees a very similar design eye or like talent in those two things, which I never would have thought of, because I just don't think about tattoos. So yeah, like I just appreciate that aspect and widening of views. And I mean, I'm looking at putting in different floors and the bookcases in my house in Portland, and getting beautiful design inspiration is part of that process. So I really thought those are pretty. Okay, that's the 4 books. That's the author update. The bonus that we have here, and I'll just put this up in case anyone else has announcements. I'm going to do announcements at the end. I've got a read-along. So this is How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy with Jenny Odell. And the read-along is being hosted by Grace at Books and Cooks is the channel name, but the URL is actually The Music Snob. I'm not sure how that came about, but she might tell us if we ask. She's read this book before, and she's doing a slow reread through like 7 months or something. So I saw her video on that and thought that was a really good idea, because when I first read this a year or 2 ago, I thought there were lots of good points, but they seemed pretty disparate, and I wasn't sure like the whole message pulled through. So rereading it now, after the assault on the attention economy that we're experiencing now, I feel like, oh, there's so much more to reflect on. So I appreciate that she's doing it. Like a March is just read the introduction. I could do that. So it's not too much demands on my time. And I put a quote up on my community tab. Let's see, what did I tab here that I might be able to share? Oh, okay. How about this from the introduction? So I know we talk about escapist reading, but this is not the same. She says, this is the beginning of an ongoing distinction I'll make between one, escaping, quote, the world, end quote, or even just other people entirely, and two, remaining in place while escaping the framework of the attention economy and an over-reliance on a filtered public opinion. Okay, so this is important for our sanity. This is why I feel like talking about this with other people will be really beneficial. Sorry for the traffic noise. But yeah, attention economy, by that, I mean everything that is in capitalism trying to capitalize on our attention, getting our attention for ads, for behavior change, for don't worry about that election, it's not important, for trying to tell us how to live, right? And profiting off of our attention if we get addicted, because like, what else is there to do? Escaping that. So like getting out of the rat race is another way to put it. Removing yourself from being victimized in that way and having a different parallel system to put into place and have community with. That's what I like about this. So yes, introduction, very good. And you can definitely join in, like it's slow rolling. So feel free to join in for chapter 1 in April. So what is up? Any announcements to share? Eva said hello, came in. And Cat Paw says, I'm pretty sure that is the book my friend Sarah used to keep on her coffee table. The William Morris one, because it's definitely a coffee table book. It's a pretty book. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, so I brought it down because I thought I would share some of the ideas with my parents while I'm here. We've got a lot of things going on, including contractors to talk to and taxes to do. So maybe we'll have time for that in a little while, but not right now. But yeah, and spring is springing, so I'm just very excited to be here in California where it's overcast. I shared a picture on Blue Sky that was like the view from my window here if you wanted to check it out. But overcast is good. I came here on a day when it was over 80 and I was like, I'm not ready for this. I don't want this. So give me the fog. I will take it. Yeah. Okay, well, if you guys don't have announcements, I will share mine. I have Final Friday coming up where I will be doing a productivity stream. So 9:30, I think we'll get pushed back to 10 because I'm taking advantage every weekend I can while I'm here in San Luis Obispo to go raid the bakery called Wayward Bakery. They're lovely. They make the best pastries that I've found on the West Coast. And I've traveled it. So there you go. So I think I'll swoop in. They open at 8 and then I could be back by about 9. It's like a 15-minute drive. So anyway, bakery plans notwithstanding, I will be here 10 a.m. Pacific to do a couple hours of productivity or reading or whatever you would like to use body doubling to help you get done. Other than that, there's not much reading getting done over here. There's a lot of ass kicking getting done. So words and getting shit done. That's the order of the day around here. Bean is taking it easy and I am hustling like nothing. So that is the order of the day. But I hope you guys are able to take care of yourselves, take it easy when you need it, read what you need at this very moment, and enjoy spring unfolding in your part of the world. So join us for Final Friday. There's also a First Friday. And thanks for watching. I recommend all these books, so if you have questions, definitely ask me about any of them. Diversify that reading shelf, and I will catch you Friday or Sunday. Sundays and Wednesdays for bookish opinions. Okay, bye everybody.